Today, I'm going to tell you about something that happened 4 years ago Friday. So I don't talk about it much. I just kind of keep things to myself because I'm not much of a open person about that kind of stuff. But 4 years ago this past Friday, which is August 17th, my mom passed away. She knew she had cancer in May, and June, I think the 3rd, she was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, which is extremely hard to diagnose, and because I guess of its location, it's hard to find or something, because it's like behind your stomach or whatever. Anyway, she was diagnosed on June, I believe the 3rd, and it took her 90 days. She passed away August 17th. So thankfully she didn't suffer very long, but the time that she was sick, she was suffering. I mean, I guess it was pretty painful, and she was nauseated a lot, and she lost her voice, I guess, at one point, I think because of chemo, and it just was a sucky thing to hear that your parent has cancer. I lost my grandma quite a few years ago to lung cancer. Now, not saying anything about that, but I mean, my grandma did smoke for a lot of years, and it was bad for her too. I felt terrible. Hers took her in like 9 months. She just couldn't even breathe. I mean, she was walking around with the oxygen in her nose, and she couldn't even get from like point A to point B without running out of breath. And I was there with my grandma on Monday. It was when we, well, not we, but the Catholics decided to get a new pope. And I remember sitting there with my grandma talking to her about how they vote, in the new pope, and like how the smoke comes up. I'm sorry, because it was just a really hard time for me. I was super close to my grandma, probably closer to her than I was my own mom. But I remember that conversation because we just talked about, just life, and, and she was explaining stuff to me. She was so smart. And the next day my mom called and said, "Can you come by? Because I think she had a stroke." And so at the time I was working in a nursing home, the front desk, and could kind of tell some things. And my grandma did have a stroke that day. And but she kind of knew what was going on, And my girls wanted to come in and see her, and I wouldn't let them. I said, "No, I don't want you to see grandma like that." And so they were yelling. It was so cute because they were yelling from the driveway from my car, "Now we love you, grandma." And she was just yelling, "I love you too." And it was so bad. And then I slept there Tuesday night, and she kept trying to take that cannula out of her nose, and it was driving me crazy. I kept, like, she laid on the couch and slept, and I just sat there staring at her the whole time. And I wonder if she felt me staring at her. When you feel like I'm like that, if my kids walk in the room and I'm sleeping, they can wake me up with their stare. But I wonder if that just drove her crazy. I was staring at her because she kept taking that cannula out, and I knew she needed it to breathe. And I'm thinking, Grandma, you ain't doing this when I'm here, so that isn't going to happen. So I would put it back in her nose, or I would say, "Stop it." And she'd be like, "Okay, it's just dry, like my nose is dry," and whatever. And whatever. Wednesday I got up, and so I went to work that day, or I left, and I think my mom had to work. Or maybe my mom was off. I think she just needed to sleep. That's why I stayed there that night, so my mom could sleep. And then I was getting my kids up Thursday morning to go to school, and I remember my mom calling me probably about 7, between like 7:30, and said that she had passed away. And we knew like that things were coming because she was doing really weird things, like taking off her pajamas and saying she wanted to go be with her brother, or maybe her brother was in the room. Because sometimes when they're getting to that point, they see people, or you know, they just do weird things. Like a lot of people want to be naked when they're ready to die, and I don't know why, but they just do. It's very strange. So I took that really hard. Like, I was really super close with my grandma. I got a lot closer to her like when she moved here after my grandpa passed away, and it was a really hard death for me, probably the hardest, just because she was like my best friend. I could tell her anything. My mom, not so much. I mean, I just didn't have a good relationship with her, and sometimes like the guilt of it just like beats me up because I'm so close with my kids, and especially with my daughters, and I just really wish I would have had that mom, you know, to be able to go to and talk to anything about, because I just couldn't. She was like my friend, not my mom, and it sucks. You know, and I wasn't raised with a dad, so for my girls to have a dad, I think they're so lucky, because I get to see everything I missed. So I really didn't have great parents growing up, so I try to be a great parent. I try really hard just to do everything for my kids and be there, and like be their biggest fan and their biggest supporter. And I don't know, it's just terrifying that one day I'll be gone and they won't have me, and I worry about Kayvon and who's gonna take care of him. It's just scary to have kids, and sometimes I think, you know, what if I wouldn't have had them? You know, and that breaks my heart because they just make me so happy, even though they drive me crazy. And I don't know why this vlog just got super serious, because I don't ever want them to be super serious. I just want it to be like my therapy, but maybe inside, maybe I just need to get it out a little bit, because I really didn't cry too much after my mom passed away. I don't know. I mean, I don't have a lot of guilt for the choices I made. I just have guilt that we weren't closer, and I guess it's not all my fault. It's her fault too, you know. But anyway, that sucks. And it sucks when you're 50 years old and don't have either one of your parents, and your kids really didn't have a relationship with either one of your parents. Like, my kids never met my dad. He was just a junkie dad. Could care less about me, so you know, that's alright. I did a fine job of raising myself. I said to myself, when I became a parent, I would be a parent like no other. I would go above and beyond. I would give my kids anything. I don't care if I spoil them. I don't care what anyone thinks about the way I raise them. So I just said that in my life, when I decide to have kids, that I would be you know, just a great mom, and I would go above and beyond for my kids, and I didn't care what anybody thought. You know, my kids turned out, to me, great. You know, I'm very proud of my girls. I don't care if they went to college. I don't care if they graduated high school. I don't care. I'm glad that they're good girls. They're respectable girls. I don't have to worry about anything with them. They're all wild as hell. Yep, I know it. But overall, they're good girls, and I haven't had to, they haven't driven me over the edge. All my kids have been really good, raising them, you know, as far as I'm concerned. So I just, you know, decided that I would be a better parent than my parents were, and I would not let anybody come in the way of it, you know. And even when I met Bill, he was a young man, very young man, and I was already a mom, and I wasn't going to let him or anybody step, you know, in between even my daughter and myself. And she was 3, and, you know, I put her through Catholic schools. I did it on my own, you know. I didn't ask nothing from Bill. I just vowed that I would be the way I was going to be, and then nothing was going to stop me. I don't let anybody say anything to my kids. I mean, I will fight you tooth and nail. And I'm just super protective of them, and I just want them to know, like, when I leave the earth, that, like, I was a good mom, and, like, they could always depend on me no matter what. If it was money, if I had to go broke, if I had to give them my arm, I mean, I would do anything for my kids. And I just hope that they know that. So I won't ever have a serious vlog again because it's too much, you know. It stresses me out, and I forget, like, how emotional I get when it comes to my kids and, you know, my upbringing and stuff, you know. So hope you all have a good day, and I'm sorry about my seriousness today. Bye.
Hey, Mommy, you're done.